My name is Madison Carter, and for 23 years, I was the invisible glue holding my family together, though you'd never know it from the way my mother treated me. The day everything changed started like any other morning in the Carter household. I woke up at 5:30 a.m., just as I had every day since I turned 16. Before anyone else stirred, I was already downstairs preparing breakfast for 5 people, packing lunches for my younger siblings, and starting the first of 3 loads of laundry that would cycle through our ancient washing machine throughout the day. My mother, Patricia Carter, didn't emerge from her bedroom until nearly 9 o'clock. By then my sisters, 17-year-old Brittany and 15-year-old Jessica, were fed, dressed, and out the door for school. My father, Robert, had grabbed his lunch and coffee on his way to his construction job. The kitchen was spotless, except for the French toast and fresh fruit I'd plated for my mother, still warm on the counter. "About time you did something useful around here," she muttered, not even looking at me as she picked up her fork. I was used to comments like these. They'd been the soundtrack of my life for as long as I could remember. While Brittany was praised for making the cheerleading squad and Jessica was celebrated for her piano recitals, I was the family's afterthought, or worse, its punching bag. What my mother didn't acknowledge that morning, or any morning, was that I'd been awake for 3.5 hours already. That I'd scrubbed the bathroom, vacuumed the living room, responded to 14 emails for her small online boutique business, scheduled her dentist appointment, paid 3 utility bills from the family account she'd given me access to, and prepped ingredients for dinner. All before she'd even opened her eyes. "I need you to pick up my prescription today," she said between bites. "And Jessica needs new shoes for her recital. Size 7. Nothing cheap, she deserves nice things." "Sure, Mom," I replied quietly. "I have my shift at the diner from 11 to 6, but I can go afterward." She looked up then, her eyes narrowing. "You and that stupid waitressing job. When are you going to do something with your life, Madison? You're 23 years old, still living at home, going to community college part-time like some kind of loser." The words stung, as they always did, but I'd learned not to show it. What I couldn't say was that I attended community college part-time because I was the only one managing the household. That my waitressing job paid for my own expenses plus contributed $300 a month to the family groceries. Money that somehow never seemed to count when my mother tallied up my contributions. "I'm doing my best," I said softly. "Your best." She laughed, sharp and cruel. "Brittany is being recruited by colleges for volleyball. Jessica just won a regional piano competition. And you? You're slinging hash browns and taking introductory classes with 18-year-olds. Do you know how embarrassing it is when people ask me about my daughters?" I felt something crack inside my chest, but I kept my face neutral. "I should get ready for work." "Of course you should," she spat. "Run away like you always do. God forbid you actually accomplish anything meaningful." I walked upstairs to my room, the smallest bedroom in the house, the one that used to be a storage closet before they converted it, and sat on my bed. My hands were shaking. Through the thin walls, I could hear my mother on the phone with her sister, my Aunt Linda. "I swear, Linda, I don't know what I did to deserve a daughter like Madison," she was saying. "The girl has no ambition, no drive. She's 23 and has nothing to show for her life. Meanwhile, I'm working myself to the bone with the boutique, and she can't even be bothered to help out properly around here." I pressed my palms against my eyes, willing myself not to cry. The boutique she mentioned? I ran 90% of it. I processed orders, handled customer service emails, managed the social media accounts, and even designed half the product descriptions. My mother's work consisted of occasionally photographing items and meeting friends for business lunches that lasted 3 hours. But pointing this out would only make things worse. It always did. My phone buzzed. A text from my younger sister Jessica. "Thank you for braiding my hair this morning. You're the best. Red heart." That message, at least, made me smile. Jessica was the sweet one, still untainted by my mother's poison. Brittany, on the other hand, had become a perfect mirror of Patricia, entitled, dismissive, and convinced the world owed her everything. I worked my shift at Rosie's diner that day, smiling at customers and refilling coffee cups, my feet aching in my worn-out shoes. I hadn't bought myself new ones in 8 months because every spare dollar went to something the family needed. After work, I picked up my mother's prescription and Jessica's shoes, spending 40 minutes finding the perfect pair that would make my sister happy. When I got home at 7:30 p.m., I expected at least a thank you. Instead, I walked into chaos. Dirty dishes were piled in the sink. Brittany's backpack and volleyball gear were thrown across the living room floor. My mother was on the couch, scrolling through her phone, while Jessica sat at the kitchen table trying to do homework amid the mess. "Where have you been?" my mother demanded. "Getting your prescription and Jessica's shoes, like you asked." "It's 7:30, Madison. Did you forget that people in this house need to eat dinner? Or were you too busy gossiping with your diner friends?" Something in me snapped. Just a little. "I prepped everything this morning," I said, my voice tight. "The chicken is marinated in the fridge. The vegetables are chopped. All anyone had to do was cook it." "Oh, I'm sorry," my mother said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "I didn't realize I was supposed to be the maid in my own house. I've been working all day, Madison. Running a business is exhausting. But you wouldn't know anything about real work, would you?" "I worked an 8-hour shift today, Mom. After doing all the housework this morning. After managing your business emails." "Your shift," she sneered. "Bringing people pancakes. Real impressive, Madison. You know what? I'm tired of your attitude. I'm tired of you acting like you do so much when you contribute practically nothing to this family." "Nothing?" The word came out sharper than I intended. "Mom, I do everything around here. I clean, I cook, I take care of Jessica, I run your business." "You do not run my business," she screamed, standing up now. "I run my business. You answer a few emails. And as for the rest, that's the least you can do considering you're living here rent-free, eating our food, using our electricity." "I pay $300 a month for groceries," I said quietly. $300? She laughed. "Do you know what rent costs, Madison? You're getting a free ride. And you have the audacity to complain." Brittany emerged from her room then, drawn by the shouting. "What's going on?" "Your sister thinks she's some kind of martyr," my mother announced. "She thinks bringing home a pathetic waitress salary and doing a few chores makes her special." "I do more than a few chores," I said, my voice breaking. "I do everything. I've been doing everything for years." "You do what you're told," my mother shrieked. "And even that you can't do right. You're 23 years old with no degree, no career, no future. You're just a leech, Madison. A leech living off us." The words hung in the air like poison. "A leech," I repeated softly. "Yes. A parasite. You take and give nothing back. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of you." Something broke in me then. Not with drama or fanfare, but quietly. Like a cable stretched too tight finally fraying through. "Okay," I said. "Okay." My mother blinked. "Okay what?" "Okay, I'll leave." She laughed. "Oh, here we go. The victim act. Where are you going to go, Madison? You have no money, no prospects." "I have $2,000 saved," I said calmly. "I've been putting away $20 every week for 3 years. And I'll figure out the rest." For the first time, my mother looked uncertain. "You're not serious." "I've never been more serious in my life." I turned and walked upstairs. Behind me, I heard Brittany say, "Good riddance. Maybe now someone useful can have that room." I packed methodically. Clothes, toiletries, my laptop, important documents. I had 2 suitcases and a backpack. Everything that truly mattered to me fit inside them. As I worked, Jessica appeared in my doorway, tears streaming down her face. "Maddie, you can't leave," she whispered. "Please don't leave me here alone." I hugged her tight. "Jess, I love you so much. But I can't stay. I can't keep doing this." "Can I come with you?" "You're 15, sweetie. I can't take you. But I promise I'll stay in touch, okay? I'll text you every day." She sobbed into my shoulder while I finished packing. When I came back downstairs with my bags, my mother was still on the couch, arms crossed, her face flushed with anger. "This is so typical of you," she said. "Dramatic and selfish. Fine. Leave. See how far you get in the real world." My father had come home during the commotion. He stood in the doorway, silent as always, never one to contradict his wife. "Dad," I said, hoping for something, anything. He looked away. I walked out the door of the only home I'd ever known at 8:47 p.m. on a Tuesday night in October. I didn't look back. That first night, I stayed in a cheap motel on the highway. I lay on the scratchy comforter and stared at the ceiling, wondering if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. My phone buzzed constantly, texts from my mother ranging from angry, "You're going to regret this," to manipulative, "How can you abandon your family like this?" to cruel, "Don't bother coming back. We don't need you." I turned my phone off and cried myself to sleep. The next morning, I woke up with a strange feeling, lightness. For the first time in years, I didn't have to wake up at 5:30 a.m. I didn't have a list of chores waiting for me. I didn't have to tiptoe around my mother's moods. I spent that week in the motel, working extra shifts at the diner and searching for a room to rent. My coworker, Angela, mentioned that her cousin had a room available in a house she shared with 2 other women. The rent was $400 a month, manageable with my diner income if I was careful. I moved in that weekend. My new room was tiny, with old carpet and a window that stuck, but it was mine. My housemates, Angela's cousin Priya, along with Shauna and Kelly, were all working women in their 20s who welcomed me warmly. "Make yourself at home," Priya said with a genuine smile. "We do communal dinners on Sundays if you want to join, but otherwise, everyone pretty much does their own thing." It was strange, living with people who didn't expect me to serve them. Who said thank you when I washed a shared dish? Who asked me about my day like they actually cared about the answer? Meanwhile, back at the Carter household, things were apparently falling apart. I heard about it first from Jessica, who texted me frantically 3 days after I left, "Maddie, Mom is freaking out. She can't find any of the business passwords and there are like 50 angry customer emails. Also, we had cereal for dinner 2 nights in a row because no one knows how to cook. Can you please come back?" I felt a pang of guilt, but I replied gently, "Jess, I love you but I can't come back. Mom can reset the passwords. I used her email for everything. And there are tutorials online for cooking. You guys will figure it out." Over the next week, the texts from Jessica painted an increasingly chaotic picture. My mother had apparently forgotten about 3 subscription services that I'd been managing, resulting in late fees. The house was a disaster because no one was cleaning. Brittany had missed volleyball practice because her uniform was dirty and she didn't know how to use the washing machine. My father had run out of clean work clothes and had to wear the same shirt 2 days in a row. My mother tried calling me twice. I didn't answer. She left voicemails. "Madison, you need to come home and explain where you put all the business information. This is ridiculous." Then, a day later, "Madison, I don't know what game you're playing, but you've made your point. Come home and we'll discuss this like adults." I deleted both without responding. 2 weeks after I left, Jessica called me sobbing. "Maddie, please, it's so bad. Mom and Dad are fighting all the time because the house is a mess and no one can find anything. Mom's boutique got 3 one-star reviews because she didn't respond to customers. Brittany is failing chemistry because she hasn't done any homework. You always helped her with that. And I miss you so much." "I miss you too, Jess," I said, my heart aching. "But missing me isn't a reason for me to come back to be treated like garbage." "I know," she whispered. I didn't realize how much you did. None of us did." That conversation haunted me, but I stayed strong. I was building something new. I'd enrolled in 2 classes at community college for the spring semester, actually able to focus on school for once. I'd picked up an additional part-time job doing remote data entry that paid better than the diner. And I'd started seeing a therapist through the community health center. Dr. Ramon was the first person who'd ever asked me, "What do you want, Madison?" I didn't have an answer at first. I'd spent so long being what everyone else needed that I'd forgotten I could want things for myself. 3 weeks after I left, my mother showed up at the diner during my shift. She looked terrible. Her usually immaculate hair was pulled into a messy ponytail, and she wasn't wearing makeup. She slid into a booth in my section and waited. "Hi, Mom," I said carefully, coffee pot in hand. "We need to talk." "I'm working." "Madison, please. Just give me 5 minutes." I glanced at my manager, Rosa, who nodded. I slid into the booth across from my mother. "The house is falling apart," she said bluntly. "Your father and I can barely keep up with everything. Brittany's grades are dropping. Jessica cries every night. The business is suffering. I need you to come home." "No," I said simply. Her eyes widened. "No. No, Mum. I'm not coming back." "Madison, be reasonable. We're family. We need you." "You need a maid," I corrected. "You need someone to manage your life for you. But you don't need me, your daughter. You made that very clear." I was angry when I said those things. "You've been saying those things my entire life." My voice rose slightly, and I forced myself to lower it. "Do you have any idea what it's like to work yourself to exhaustion for people who treat you like you're worthless? Who never say thank you, never acknowledge what you do, and then call you a leech?" Her face flushed. "You're being dramatic." "I'm being honest." I stood up. "I need to get back to work. My break is over." "Madison. If you want to order something, I'm happy to serve you. Otherwise, I need you to leave." She stared at me for a long moment, then left without another word. That night, I received a long email from my father. It was the most he'd communicated with me in years. He explained in his careful way that the family was struggling, that he hadn't realized how much I'd been contributing, that my mother was under a lot of stress and didn't mean the things she'd said. He asked if I'd consider coming back, at least temporarily. I wrote back, "Dad, I love you. But I'm not coming back to a place where I'm not valued. If Mom wants to apologize, really apologize, not just because she needs me to fix her problems, I'm willing to listen. But I'm not going to sacrifice my well-being anymore. I hope you can understand." He never responded to that email. Meanwhile, my new life was taking shape in ways I'd never imagined. Without the constant weight of my family's demands, I found I had energy for things I'd forgotten I enjoyed. I started painting again, something I hadn't done since high school. I made friends with my housemates, having actual conversations about books and movies and dreams for the future. Priya was studying to be a nurse. Shauna worked in tech and was teaching me basic coding in the evenings. Kelly was a yoga instructor who convinced me to try meditation. "You carry a lot of tension in your shoulders," she observed one evening. "Have you considered that you might have been living in survival mode?" That hit me hard because it was true. For years, I'd been in constant fight-or-flight mode, anticipating my mother's next criticism, managing everyone's needs, trying to be invisible enough not to be attacked but visible enough not to be forgotten. Now, slowly, I was learning to just exist, without apologizing for it. 2 months after I left, Thanksgiving arrived. My phone lit up with messages from Jessica begging me to come home for dinner. "Please, Maddie. It won't be the same without you." Mom even said she'd be nice. The fact that being nice was presented as a special occasion told me everything I needed to know. I spent Thanksgiving with my housemates and a collection of their friends and family members, a mismatched group of people who'd all found each other. We cooked together, laughed together, and went around the table saying what we were grateful for. When it was my turn, I said, "I'm grateful for the courage to leave, and for the people who made me feel welcome when I had nowhere to go." Priya squeezed my hand. That night, I received a text from Brittany. It was the first time she'd contacted me since I left. "Jessica told me what you said about Thanksgiving. Real classy, Madison. You're so selfish. Mom is crying because of you." I blocked her number. December came. Finals week at college was intense, but I managed to maintain a 3.7 GPA. I got a small raise at the diner. I sold 3 paintings at a local coffee shop's artist showcase. They were small victories, but they were mine. Jessica still texted me regularly. Through her, I learned that my mother had hired a cleaning service, expensive, and a virtual assistant for the boutique, also expensive. That Brittany had lost her volleyball scholarship opportunities because her grades had tanked. That my parents were fighting more than ever about money and responsibilities. I think Dad's sleeping in the guest room, Jessica confided. They scream at each other after I go to bed. I hate it here, Maddie. I'm counting down the days until I can leave for college. Just 2.5 more years, I encouraged her. You can do this, Jess. Stay strong. I'm trying. I understand now. Why you left. I'm sorry I didn't see it before. Christmas was difficult. Jessica sent me a present. A scarf she'd knitted herself with a note that said, "I love you, sis. I'm proud of you." I cried for an hour. My mother sent a single text on Christmas Eve, "You've ruined this family. I hope you're happy." I didn't respond. But I also didn't let it ruin my day. I'd learned, through therapy and distance, that I wasn't responsible for my mother's emotions or the family's dysfunction. Those problems existed long before I left. I'd just been the band-aid covering them up. January marked 4 months since I'd left home. I'd saved enough money to buy a used car. Nothing fancy, a 15-year-old Honda Civic with 130,000 miles, but it was mine. Having transportation opened up new possibilities. I could take more shifts, explore the city, feel truly independent. One evening in late January, I was driving home from work when I saw a familiar car pulled over on the side of the road with its hazard lights on. I recognized it immediately, my father's truck. I hesitated, then pulled over behind him. He was standing next to the truck, phone in hand, looking frustrated. "Dad? You okay?" He looked up, surprised. "Madison. The truck broke down. I was just calling a tow service." "Pop the hood. Let me look." He blinked. "You know about cars?" I almost laughed. Of course he didn't know that. He didn't know that I'd spent 2 summers working at a mechanic shop when I was 18, that I'd learned basic maintenance to keep my own beater car running. There was so much about me my family had never bothered to learn. It was a loose battery cable. I fixed it in 5 minutes with tools from my own car. "Thank you," he said quietly as the truck roared to life. Then, after a pause, "Madison, can we talk? Just for a minute." We sat in my car, with the heater running. For a long moment, my father didn't speak. Then, "I'm sorry." 2 words. But they were the first real acknowledgement I'd received from my family. "Your mother. She's not good at admitting when she's wrong," he continued. "But things have been hard since you left. Really hard. And I think we all took you for granted." "You think?" The bitterness in my voice surprised even me. "I know we did," he corrected. "I did. Madison, I should have stood up for you. All those years, I should have said something when your mother was cruel. When she treated you like you didn't matter. I told myself I was keeping the peace, but really I was just being a coward." I felt tears prickling my eyes. "Yeah, you were. I know. And I'm sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. How wrong we were." We sat in silence for a moment. Then I asked the question I'd been wondering, "How's Jessica?" "Really struggling," he admitted. "She misses you a lot. And I think seeing how we treated you has changed how she sees us. She's pulling away from your mother. They fight constantly." "That's not because of me," I said firmly. "That's because of how Mom treats people." "I know." He rubbed his face. "Madison, I'm not asking you to come back. I understand why you can't. But would you maybe consider having dinner with me sometime? Just the 2 of us? I'd like to know you. Actually know you. I realized I don't really know my own daughter, and that's my fault." I thought about it. Maybe. I need to think about it. "That's fair." He reached into his wallet and pulled out a couple of 20s. "Here. For fixing the truck." Dad, I don't need. Take it. Please. Let me do at least this one small thing. I took the money. He left. And I sat in my car for a long time processing. Over the next few weeks, my father texted me occasionally. Never pushing, just sending small messages. Saw a cardinal today and thought of you. Remember how you used to love watching them? Or hope you're doing well. It was more effort than he'd made in years. In February, I agreed to have lunch with him. We met at a neutral location, a small cafe downtown. It was awkward at first, but slowly we found our rhythm. He asked me about school, about my job, about my paintings. He actually listened to the answers. I'm proud of you, he said toward the end of the meal. I know I haven't said that enough. Maybe haven't said it at all. But I'm proud of the woman you've become, especially despite how we treated you. Thanks, Dad, I whispered. We started meeting once a month for lunch. I kept him at arm's length emotionally, but it was something. A small bridge being rebuilt, piece by piece. Through him, I learned that things at home were not improving. The boutique was barely profitable now. Brittany had become impossible to live with, demanding and entitled and angry at the world. My mother was on antidepressants and seeing a therapist, which my father mentioned carefully, like he was worried I'd be angry about it. I'm not angry she's getting help, I told him. I'm glad she is. But that doesn't erase what she did. I know, he said. I don't think she fully understands that yet. She thinks if she fixes herself, you'll come back and everything will return to normal. There is no going back, I said firmly. There's only forward. In March, I got promoted at the diner to shift supervisor. It came with a small pay increase and the satisfaction of knowing I'd earned it through hard work, not through being taken advantage of. I also officially changed my major to business administration. I had a goal now. I wanted to open my own cafe someday. Something cozy and welcoming, where people felt valued. I was slowly building toward it. April brought an unexpected message from Brittany. She'd unblocked me and sent a long text. Madison, I know you probably hate me. I've been a terrible sister. Mom always favored me and I let it go to my head. I thought I was better than you. But my life is falling apart. I lost my scholarship opportunities. I'm fighting with Mom constantly because she expects me to be perfect and I'm not. Dad barely talks to anyone. Jessica won't even look at me anymore. And I realize. You were right. About everything. Mom is toxic. This family is toxic. And I'm scared I'm becoming just like her. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. And I'm trying to be better. I read the message 3 times before responding. Thank you for apologizing. I appreciate it. I hope you do become better. Everyone deserves that chance. But I need you to understand that I can't be the one to help you through it. I'm still healing from my own stuff. I hope you can find support somewhere, maybe through a therapist or school counselor. I mean that genuinely. She replied, I understand. Thanks for responding. And Maddie? I really am sorry. May marked 8 months since I'd left home. 8 months of building a life on my own terms. I'd started dating someone, a kind, funny guy named Marcus who worked at the bookstore near my house. Nothing serious yet, but nice. Normal. He treated me like I mattered, and that still felt novel. Jessica texted me with big news. I got accepted to a summer art program 3 states away. It's 6 weeks and includes dorm housing. I applied without telling Mom and Dad, and they said yes because they don't want to deal with me this summer. I'm so excited. I'll be away from here. I was thrilled for her. My youngest sister was finding her own escape route, her own path forward. Then, in June, nearly 9 months after I'd left, my mother called. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Madison. Her voice was different. Quieter. Thank you for answering. What do you need, Mom? I need to apologize. Really apologize, not because I want something from you. She took a shaky breath. I've been in therapy for 4 months now. My therapist has helped me understand some things about myself. About how I was raised, about patterns I've repeated. And Madison, I need you to know that everything I said to you was wrong. You were never a leech. You were the backbone of this family, and I was too proud and too blind to see it. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. I treated you abhorrently, she continued, her voice breaking. I projected all my own insecurities and failures onto you. I saw your kindness as weakness. I took advantage of your love for this family. And when you finally stood up for yourself, I said the most hateful things I could think of because I was terrified. Terrified of being exposed as someone who couldn't function without you. Terrified of being seen as a failure. Mom, please let me finish. I don't expect you to forgive me. I know I don't deserve it. But I need you to know that I see it now. I see what I did. And I am so sorry. You deserved better. You deserved a mother who celebrated you, who supported you, who protected you. Instead, you got me. And I failed you. I was crying now, tears streaming down my face in my parked car. Why now? Why are you saying this now? Because it's true. And because you deserve to hear it, whether or not you ever speak to me again. Madison, you are remarkable. You are strong and capable and loving despite everything I did to break you. And I'm so ashamed of myself. We both cried on the phone for a while. Finally, I said, thank you for saying all that. I mean it. But Mom, I'm not ready to have you back in my life. Not fully. Maybe someday, but not now. I'm still healing. I understand, she said. I just wanted you to know the truth. That none of this was your fault. All of it was mine. After we hung up, I sat in my car for an hour processing. It was the apology I'd needed, the acknowledgement I'd craved. But it also didn't erase the years of pain. Healing isn't linear, Dr. Ramon always reminded me. And forgiveness doesn't mean going back to the way things were. Summer unfolded. I thrived. I was taking 4 classes, working 2 jobs, creating art, building friendships, exploring a relationship. I was exhausted sometimes, but it was a good exhaustion. The kind that came from building something, not from being drained by others. Jessica came to visit me after her summer program. We spent 3 days together, just the 2 of us. She told me about her art classes, her new friends, her dreams of going to art school in California. You inspired me, she said on her last evening. Watching you leave, watching you build a life on your own terms. You showed me it was possible to choose myself. I'm going to do the same thing when I turn 18. I'm going to leave and not look back. I hope it's easier for you than it was for me, I said. But Jess, even if it's hard, you're strong enough. I know you are. We hugged for a long time before she left. Now, a full year after I walked out of my childhood home, I can see everything clearly. My family is slowly, painfully, learning to function without using me as their crutch. My mother is in intensive therapy and has apparently made progress, though we still only communicate occasionally. My father and I have lunch monthly, and our relationship is better than it's ever been. Still imperfect but honest. Brittany is working on herself. And Jessica is planning her escape. As for me, I'm thriving in ways I never imagined. I'm on track to finish my associate's degree this year. I have a savings account that's actually growing. I'm in a healthy relationship with someone who respects me. I have real friends who value me. Last week, I had my first gallery showing for my paintings. 12 pieces, all sold. Marcus was there, and Priya, Shauna, Kelly, Angela from work, my father, and Jessica. My mother asked if she could come, and after thinking about it, I said yes. She came, stayed in the background, and left a note on the guest book. Your work is beautiful. You are beautiful. I'm sorry I never told you before. Mom. I read that note and felt, not forgiveness exactly, but maybe the beginning of it. The small, tender shoots of something that might someday bloom into peace. That night, as I celebrated with the people who'd become my chosen family, I realized something important. I wasn't a leech. I never was. I was someone who gave and gave because I loved people who didn't know how to love me back properly. But I'd learned to love myself instead. And that made all the difference. Sometimes the best revenge isn't a dramatic confrontation or a satisfying comeuppance. Sometimes it's simply building a beautiful life for yourself, piece by piece, outside the toxicity that once defined you. It's proving, to yourself more than anyone, that you were never the problem. You were always enough. You just needed to be somewhere that could see it. And now, finally, I am.